Good tidings and well wishes and sweet talkings. No, never mind. We'll start that one over. Hold on, we'll start over.
Yeah.
Okay. Good tidings, everyone, and Happy New Year, the year of our Lord, 2022. This is the Overleveled podcast.
Oh,
it's
good.
There we go.
Oh.
Okay. Wow, we nailed it. We nailed the podcast.
Yeah, we nailed it. We nailed 2022.
Cool. Yeah, we did it. Happy 2022, everyone. We won the year. It can end now.
We won. You're welcome.
You're welcome, guys. So, boy, oh boy, it's been a month at least.
It has been a month, yeah. Bare minimum.
At the very least, it's been a month since we last recorded. Our last episode was our Christmas extravaganza.
Yeah.
And, we talked about, what did we talk about? Oh, we talked about like Christmas stories and shit. So
yeah.
That was fun.
That was neat.
Yeah, and now that it's, like I said, the year of our good Lord, 2022. 2021 is behind us. And we're going to spend a good chunk of this episode talking about the games that we played, the good, the bad, the meh. We're just going to kind of talk about video games that we played and stuff that we loved and hated and all that good stuff. So yeah. I hope everyone's excited for that. Maybe your favorite game was our least favorite game. Maybe our favorite game was yours. Wait, what's up?
I was just like, maybe because you just suck, It's like your favorite game is our worst favorite game because you suck.
Yeah, I mean, if you suck, I mean, I'm glad you're here, but
right,
whatever.
Welcome to an hour of telling you how much you suck.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. I'm sorry, guys. There's nothing I can do about you sucking so bad. Just kidding. So, before we jump into everything, before we get into like question of the week and stuff real fast, let's catch up for a second, man. What you been doing? What you been playing? Stuff you've been working on?
In terms of just doing, just same old, just working and all that stuff. And in terms of YouTube, I recently just uploaded my latest One Piece review video of the Whiskey Peak arc, which is the second arc of the Alabasta saga. One thing I was kind of upset of it is like it took so long for it to come out solely because I ordered this prop from Etsy that took way too long for it to show up to my house because I ordered it the 31st and it didn't show up to my house till the 10th, and like already had pretty much everything else filmed and recorded. I was like just waiting for that shirt for that one prop for this bit. I'm just like, come on.
Yeah, man.
So it came out longer than I expected, but came out, which is good. But luckily with that, I have a bunch of videos that hopefully will come out sooner within that release and stuff like that.
Yeah,
just been working on a bunch of other videos. That's about it for me in terms of games. In that time, for my first game of the year for 2022, I played through Final Fantasy 15. That was good because I remember I've said this many times on the podcast before, but I bought that game like right around when it came out. When did that come out? 2015, right? Something like that?
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah, I bought it 2015
Dude,
I played
2015 was 7 years ago.
That is a Jesus Christ.
God,
I've had this game for 7 years and I only now beat it. But yeah, I had that game, bought it not too long after it came out. I played like the first 3 chapters and haven't touched it since until the beginning of this year.
Yeah,
and I beat it. Yeah, but it was very good. I mean, after playing it now with all the stuff added onto it with the Royal Edition, it's definitely a much better experience. Like the one thing that I really enjoy is the thing to like switch between the characters and stuff like that, being able to play Gladio, Prompto, and Ignis. I really enjoyed doing that instead of just playing Noctis.
Yeah.
All their DLCs were a lot of fun. I really enjoyed Ignis's in terms of the story and Gladio's in terms of the gameplay. Those are really cool. I guess the thing that I dislike the least is like even with all the new things, there's still some glaring plot holes and just like stuff left out,
Yeah.
Like the big thing is with Luna. I'm not going to spoil it, but
yeah,
like
I'm with you
one
on
scene
that
with
stuff.
her. Yeah, the one scene with her is like it could have been way more impactful if they just, I don't know, made me care about her more. I don't
Exactly.
know.
There's
but-
very little screen
yeah.
time with Luna.
Exactly. But near the end, like the final chapter, I was like completely invested in terms of the story. Like that was
I
a
agree.
bittersweet ending. That was great.
Yeah, because ultimately, a lot of the plot driving forward is like in the very beginning, it's kind of you're these guys kind of on this bachelor party kind of road trip. You're on your way to go see your fiance. You're about to go get married, and that's kind of like a lot of this drama. A lot of the story comes from you trying to care about the relationship that Noctis is supposed to have with Luna. So I agree with you in that it's kind of hard to really care about their relationship whenever you only know one of them. You only know Noctis. You don't really know Luna very well. But then by the time you get to that final act, like really the game is about the boys, the friendship.
Right. The boys. Oh fuck yeah.
So
Game's about the boys. Gotta love it. But other than that, since I beat that, right now I'm playing through a game. So one of the things that I try to do is also like try to beat a bunch of games that I played as a kid but never beaten.
Yeah.
And so right now one of those for me is Transformers for the PS2. It's based off the Unicron trilogy.
What the fuck is it, DJ?
It's the Unicron trilogy.
Is that a new
series.
variant of COVID?
Yes,
Unicron?
Yes. Yeah, it's based off that. It's also based off from the animated show Transformers that I watched growing up as a kid. And so playing that, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, there's obviously some stuff wrong with it. Fucking, the game pisses me off.
Yeah, I have that game. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And then also right now, I'm also playing Mega Man Battle Network 2.
Oh, nice.
And I'm about a little over halfway done with that game right now. And I got to say, it's already a lot better than Battle Network 1 in terms of both like the story and the gameplay and stuff like that. I'm enjoying it a lot more.
Yeah.
In comparison.
Yeah, dude, we have to maybe just do like a screen share videoverse session of doing Battle Network 2, man.
Oh, I would be down for that.
Yeah. It's been so long, man. I mean, we played through Battle Network 1 on the show, and there was that fucking wild plot twist at the end.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Like,
no, there's a lot more wild shit that happens in Battle Network 2.
It's crazy, man. Yeah, I got to know it. Yeah. I got to know the story, man. I got to know what happens after that.
Absolutely.
Well, cool, man. Yeah. As far as the YouTube stuff, like you were talking about, I'm still very much enjoying all of the One Piece content and all the other stuff as well. And as far as the prop goes, if y'all want to know what the prop is, you got to go to his channel and you got to watch the video.
It'll be very obvious what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, guys, the video did not come out because the prop was not there yet. The video would not exist without that prop. So go give DJ some props by viewing his prop in his video.
Wordplay. I love
Bars,
it. Thank
bro.
you.
Bars.
Bars.
So, and then Final Fantasy 15, man. I'm glad you got through that, dude. That's a great. it's a great game. Of course, like we were saying, it's got its issues, but I love it. I think it's totally fine as a numbered Final Fantasy game.
I agree.
Yeah.
What about you? What have you been playing?
Yeah, as for myself, as y'all can see if you're watching the YouTube version, I got a haircut. And if anyone's watched any of the other stuff, any podcast stuff, or just looked at the YouTube channel or has seen a Twitch stream of mine, shout out to One Pin Tones for following me on Twitch the other day. What's up, buddy?
Hey.
So I cut my hair. My wife cut my hair, actually. It was incredibly long. I want to say the total weight of all of my hair was about 5 pounds. So, I shaved it last March, and then it just grew over the course of, the past year. So it was just natural growth, baby. And now it's short again, but it looks better than the shaved head. Anyways, that's some personal stuff. My daughter also just turned 2, so we're happy about that.
Yeah.
My wife just had a birthday as well, so
nice.
Right now we're just kind of getting ready for baby number 2 coming at the beginning of March. So the due date is the 8th, so we're
mark your calendars, everybody.
Yeah, mark your calendars, guys. So pretty much whenever March comes around, it's just like any day at that point.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're doing there. We recently, or one of Nicole's gifts was kind of also a family gift, was a new camera. So
Okay.
like it's a good DSLR camera. So
Sweet.
I'm thinking of, in the background over here, I'm probably going to buy like a nice clean green sheet and maybe start doing some videos. I don't know, DJ, if you watched my sort of 2022 beginning of the year update video.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So at some point I mentioned that I want to start doing more scripted reviews, like things that are not going to be thrown in the podcast, but are going to be for the YouTube channel itself. I have like outlines for certain scripts that I want to do for a game that I am about to finish. So
Nice.
I'm really excited to just start doing more, I guess, more cinematic type of video essays. Throw some comedy in there every now and then, just because I like I like doing that sort of stuff. You know me.
Yeah, some goofs and gabbers. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but for the most part, I just love talking about video games, obviously. So I just want to just make some reviews and all that. So that's kind of some stuff that I'm hoping to get done pretty soon. As far as what I'm playing right now, if anybody watches me on Twitch, I just started streaming Final Fantasy Tactics.
Oh yeah. Saw the notification. Yeah. How's that been going?
It's been awesome. It's been incredibly fun. This is the first tactical game that I have ever played. And I was hesitant going first because I've kind of given Fire Emblem a chance. I felt like I gave it a chance. Maybe I didn't really give it a chance. But there's just other games with certain mechanics that kind of turn me away from that stuff. Permadeath has always scared me in video games. It's been hard to get into those kind of games. But other than that, dude, like, y'all know me. I'm definitely a story first kind of person, and Final Fantasy Tactics, obviously, it definitely has the story. But oh my god, I did not realize just how quickly attached I would be to the gameplay of just like, grinding out those jobs and like, giving, party members new abilities and stuff like that, and just trying to get those job points or like those skill points and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's so addicting, dude. And just like the tactical aspect of actually having to like really think about the playing field and all the enemies there. It's so fun. And
those are the exact same reasons why I love the Disgaea series and Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced. Like, those were a lot of fun games.
Yeah. And so what's been cool, too, is the first time that I did a stream, two people hopped in the stream. One of them was somebody who I knew from a long time ago. And the other person was, a random guy named Sakti. Sakti, if you're here listening, shout-outs to you. He hopped in the stream and was kind of, asking me questions, like, based on my experience with the games, and this guy, he obviously knew Final Fantasy Tactics, so he kind of was helping. He was guiding me through it. It's cool because I didn't have to really waste my time looking up any sort of guides or how I should be playing the game or anything. I just had some people who were really cool and kind enough to kind of basically just be like, hey man, like, here, let me show you how this works, because it can be kind of intimidating getting into at first, and once you kind of have someone holding your hand, helping you out through those beginning portions, I was just so grateful for them. And so yeah, Final Fantasy Tactics, I'm playing through that game right now, really loving it. Another game that I have picked back up on my own time, and speaking of buying games back when they first came out and still like taking forever to beat them, I think almost done with Octopath Traveler finally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Octopath Traveler, dude. I mean, I think once I really started loving tactics, because I was playing Final Fantasy Tactics, and I was like, man, the gameplay was so fun. I started thinking about other games that I really want to, like, just I don't know, try to engulf myself in their gameplay more, like games that I liked, but I didn't really appreciate to their full extent. And I think Octopath Traveler was a game that I knew that I had with a job system that I just really wasn't taking advantage of. And so I picked it up, and for the past like week or so, every day I'll sink in like maybe an hour or two just grinding in that game. And it's so fun. It's really good. And I just finished up a character's story arc in that game, and it was incredible. It was really good. And so that's one too that I'm playing through that right now, and I'm like, man, I'm having a fucking awesome time with these gameplay games, you know?
Fuck yeah.
And let's see. The other one. Oh, I started this one late 2021, and I'm still playing it right now. But I know I'm coming up towards the end of 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. That's another one that I've talked about on the show. Still, I mean, having a great time. It's like half very story-driven kind of choice-based time travel kind of story, while like the gameplay is kind of a tactical RPG as well. So it's a great time.
Nice.
I'm having a great time playing all those. So
Sweet.
Yeah. I guess that's pretty much it as far as updates. I was telling DJ this one's gonna be kind of a longer one, so we're not gonna do any news this week. We're just gonna jump straight into the question of the week. Yeah. Okay, so question of the week, suggested by One Pin Tones.
Our boy.
One Pin Tone says, is there any game that you regret buying? Like the hype was enough to get you to buy the game, but actually playing it was a letdown or broken, and why? So, appreciate that and why, buddy. So, let's see. DJ Die, he came in with, that is a good question indeed. Final Fantasy 13. I love Final Fantasy and was very excited after Final Fantasy 12. So I got Final Fantasy 13, and it lost me when I was fighting Barthandelus. Andromeda was another massive disappointment for me because they hyped it up so much, and when you played it, it was like you were running around with your head cut off, wondering what the hell happened. I think the general kind of view for Mass Effect Andromeda was kind of the same idea. I think a lot of people were super let down by that one. I haven't played it yet, but I hear Andromeda is definitely the worst of the Mass Effect games. But also, it's a shame that you didn't like Final Fantasy 13. I implore you to give it another go. Sheep. You're a sheep, bro. Just kidding. You're perfectly, reasonable in not liking Final Fantasy 13. I understand why people don't like it. I just, after I gave it another chance, I really enjoyed it. So that's just my take on that. Okay, Sean. What's up, Sean? Sean _AFK. How's it going, buddy? Okay.
What up, bud?
Sean says, I think the most recent example of this, for me, was Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I bought it, it brought a lot of the assassin back, which was something that I was missing, but it continued the trend of the last few games by being needlessly bloated. Even though I was enjoying myself for the most part, it just felt like there was so much fluff in the zones that I didn't care to do. That amplified by the fact that when I play open world games, I'm compelled to completely clear the map. It was just too much. Dude, that's how I am with open world stuff too.
Yeah, I feel that.
And when it's just so much to do, it's just overwhelming at a point. That's why I never got even close to even getting like 50% done. Like I beat Breath of the Wild, but I didn't even get 50% done with everything that you could do,
Oh, 100% same. Yeah.
Like, I think when I beat the game, I think I had completed 23% of the map. Like, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, for me.
Yeah. Tyler Rims. For me, it'd have to be Nier Automata. I heard good things about Nier, and I previously enjoyed Drakengard, so I thought narratively I'd be hooked. and it had combat done by Platinum Games, a company whose combat was top-notch up until recently, and the game never hit me on either front from combat to narrative. Once I hit the second R mechanics... Sorry, I think you might have worded that weird. I don't know what you're trying to say. Once I hit the second R mechanics I don't like, and tools I miss having. So, it just fizzled out. Yeah, I mean... I haven't gotten too far into Nier Automata, but I liked Nier Replicant.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, One Pin Tones, question asker. I bought the Tomb Raider trilogy piece by piece and thought it would be good to play them in between RPGs as a little break between. I quickly found out survival games with a specific way to solve complex in-world puzzles are not my jam. I know Resident Evil isn't for me, mostly because of it being a horror game, but continuously dying sealed the deal for me after 2 or 3 hours. Probably not going back to them. I feel I do a bunch of my own research between reviews and gameplay trailers to know what I'm getting into, but somehow this series missed all that. Man, you said, wait, the Tomb Raider trilogy piece by piece. I'm assuming you're talking about the new ones, because I have not played any of the like original Tomb Raider like the original Tomb Raider games in years. But yeah, there definitely is some puzzle stuff there in the new one. Yeah, and I'm the same way. Whenever I usually buy games, I'm pretty much like there are some games that I like to go in blind, but I'm the same way. One Pin Tones, where it's just like I like to watch a lot of trailers. I want to make sure that if I'm gonna drop $60 on a game, I'm gonna enjoy it.
Yeah,
but
honestly, for me, that's 100% me, and why it's hard for me to even come up with an answer for this, because usually I go into a game knowing, oh, I'm probably gonna like this, and if it's bad, I usually go in knowing, oh, this is gonna be a bad game. Like I don't think I've ever really had an experience where it's just like I know absolutely nothing about this game. I buy it, I play it, I'm just like, this was the worst thing ever. I don't think I've really had that experience for me personally. I mean, I guess the closest thing I can think of is like sometimes whenever I play video games, like sure, there will be moments that like absolutely pisses me off and I want to play for a while, but then, you know, once I'll play it again, beat it, and then I'll completely just like forget about all that shit that pissed me off. Like Final Fantasy 3 is the perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Like, there were so many moments where I was just like, I fucking hate... Like, I remember there was, like, one point in the game where I was playing through the game. But, yeah, I was, like, at the final area of the game. Like, I got to, like, the final dungeon, and that area just pissed me off that I just stopped playing the game for a year. And then come back to beat it early in 2020.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, I'm fine.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, for me, I feel like there's so many games that I do regret purchasing. But not because, like, I don't like them. It's just kind of like, I didn't need to spend that money. That's kind of the way that I think about regretting, like, purchases. For instance, I have so many games on my Steam account or my PS4, like, just digitally owned games where it's like, oh, I'll play that eventually, but I definitely won't. You know, like I got it because it was $2 when it's normally $10. You know, and it's like just feeling like I'm getting a deal. But let's see. I'm trying to think if there are any games where I just like I finished it and I was like, yeah, I hate that, because I remember I almost bought The Last of Us Part 2, but there was enough being said online that. For me personally, I was like, yeah, I don't particularly like that. And so I just decided not to buy the game. I'm like holding up a little toy, by the way, if anyone's wondering what the hell I'm holding. I'm just realizing, because I'm in my room is also my daughter's playroom. So anyways, I just realized, because I move my hands a lot and I'm just holding something. So anyways, there's that little tangent. Yeah, I don't know. I'm the same way. One Pin Tones, just like I don't. Yeah. There's not really many games that I think I truly regret buying. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe maybe I'll get there.
Sorry,
Maybe.
one pin tones were indecisive. Sorry.
Yeah, we are indecisive on this one. Sorry, guys. We don't really have a great answer for y'all on this one. But
Sorry, we're boring.
yeah, yeah, boring podcast. Yeah, maybe y'all regret just listening to this podcast. Oh well.
Yeah, I feel that.
So, that was question of the week, guys. If y'all have any other suggestions for question of the week, we try to answer. Like, we will come up with questions. Kind of, if nobody else asks a question or suggests a question for the question of the week, we'll kind of do our best.
You guys are
to come
saving
up with
grace
something.
whenever you come up with questions. Like, oh, thank God.
Exactly. Yeah. So, as from what I'm seeing right now, there are no questions as of yet.
What's going on, guys? What the fuck?
Yeah, what the fuck, guys? So,
Fake fans.
yeah, fake. You're all fake fans. I know you all listen to this show. I see the analytics. What the fuck are you doing not answering question of the week and typing in suggestions? Anyways, so if you do have a suggestion, though, I look at pretty much anywhere. If you want, you can join our Discord, and in our Discord we have a suggestions channel where you can put in your suggestions, and another one where you can answer question of the week. But if you're not a member of our Discord, you can also email us suggestions or answer questions of the week. And you can also go to the YouTube channel where we uploaded the visual version of this podcast. And in the comments, you can, do suggestions and answer the questions and all that. Links to all that stuff, including the email and all that stuff. I'll talk about it at the end of the show, but it's also in the description below the episode and on the YouTube channel and all that good shit. Yeah. Oh, boy. Running out of breath, guys. We're already half hour into this shit.
Oh, wow.
Cool, guys. So that was question of the week. We're going to go ahead and we're going to walk y'all through this past year. We're going to talk about some games we loved, some games we thought were okay. Just how 2021 was for us as gamers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and I'll let y'all know a couple of we have this. You can consider this the Overleveled Awards. This is the Overleveled Awards of 2021.
All right.
Our first annual Overleveled Awards. And the categories, because this is an RPG news and review podcast / I guess just coming up with t-shirts with shit stains on them kind of podcast. Mm-hmm. The first category that we have here is best RPG and or JRPG that we played this year. And the next one that we have is the best game that you played that came out in 2021. So best game of 2021 for you. Mm-hmm. Best game that you played that did not come out in 2021. Just a game that you played last year that you loved. Yeah. Biggest surprise. So a game that you were not expecting to enjoy as much as you did. Mm-hmm. We got the best story-driven game that you played through, and the best gameplay that you experienced. Mm-hmm. We got best soundtrack, and we got biggest disappointment, and then at the end we got our Overleveled game of the year.
Yeah.
So DJ, go ahead and hit me with your pick for the best RPG and or JRPG that you played this year, and go ahead and kind of tell us why you picked that one over all of the other games that you played.
Okay, so this will be relatively easy for me because I actually already kind of did this with my top 10 best games in 2021 video.
That is true.
So I can just kind of easily go through that. So I guess I don't really know if it's... Okay, so I guess, spoiler, does Breath of the Wild count as an RPG / JRPG?
I would say it definitely has RPG mechanics. I think we talked about this in a very early episode of Overleveled.
I think we did. Here, in that case, I'll say something different then. So, okay, so spoilers. The number one on my video is Breath of the Wild. Very fucking good. But in that case, JRPG-wise, I guess I would have to go with... fuck it, Chrono Trigger.
Okay.
I'd say
Okay.
for me that was probably my favorite. I really enjoy. So I guess for me, usually when it comes to RPGs and stuff like that,
You kind of stepped away from your microphone a little bit.
Oh, oops. There we go.
You're good.
So I guess for me, when it comes to JRPGs, like in terms of the combat, I more prefer like grid-based battle systems and stuff like that. But I like the way the gameplay was implemented in Chrono Trigger, where it's sort of like, I guess everything flowed very nicely in terms of just like the overworld and then going into combat. Because a lot of times in RPGs traditionally, especially turn-based ones, you're going through the overworld and then you sort of like swoosh, transition into like a battle stage. So I like how in Chrono Trigger you sort of like are in the area battling right there. And I do enjoy action turn-based games over like just regular turn-based games because there's more strategy to it, and like you sort of have to think on your feet and stuff like that, which is pretty fun. And plus the story was nice. I really enjoyed it too. I loved Frog. He was a great character.
Oh yeah.
What else? I just had it on the tip of my tongue. I also love how the game is actually kind of comedic at times. Like it's very goofy, and I appreciate that. I also really like the fact that like you can just constantly change your teammates and stuff like that, and they all have different unique dual text or triple text depending on the three members you choose. So in a way it adds a lot of replayability and stuff like that, which is really cool.
Definitely.
Which I can appreciate. And also just like the diversity of the cast, and in terms of just like everyone feels very unique to themselves. Like that's another reason why I was kind of like meh about Final Fantasy 15 is that the characters, in terms of like design wise, they just look too similar, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Obviously they have some stuff different about them, but not enough that to really like make me be like, oh yeah, this guy's awesome. I could talk about him for like hours.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, I guess in terms of stuff like that, Chrono Trigger would probably be my favorite JRPG that I played in 2021.
Nice, man.
Because it's number 3 on my list.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so just to make this real easy for you guys, that was also my favorite RPG that I played this year.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, Chrono Trigger, man. And not to, talk too much about the game, I guess. I mean, you said a lot of how I feel. I thought the soundtrack was phenomenal.
Oh, true. Soundtrack's great.
Soundtrack was so good. Visually, I think it's one of the best looking Super Nintendo games ever made.
100%.
So it's just like such a treat. The story was very well told, and it's really one of those first sort of like time travel stories / time travel gameplay mechanics that we really got in a video game. Right. And I think they did a really good job. Sure, you can nitpick little plot holes and stuff like that. But just overall, like you said, with the replayability and the different gameplay things that you can do with all of the techs and changing up your team, there's like close to 20 different endings, especially if you get like kind of the newer releases. Man, there's just a lot to love about Chrono Trigger, and I'm surprised that it really took us this long to finally get to playing it, considering us being big fans of Square, like Final Fantasy and stuff like that. But
hey, we made
needless to say, I'm glad that I did finally.
Hey, it just shows you it's a timeless classic.
Absolutely. Great. Yeah. This is something that, like, it's one of those games where I would recommend to anyone who's either never played a game or has been playing games for their whole life and has never played the game, It's a great video game. It has to be my favorite RPG of 2021.
Hell yeah.
So, next category, DJ. What is the best game that you played that came out last year in 2021?
So, I mentioned this to Gavin prior to recording, but even when I made my video, there's literally barely any games that I played within the year of 2021. But then I remembered, oh yeah, there was one game that I played and beaten that did like come out near the end of 2021.
Oh yeah.
And that is Pokemon Brilliant Diamond.
Really?
That is literally the only game I played. I mean,
the only one you played. Yeah. Okay, very cool.
But I enjoyed it. I mean, Yeah, it was fun. I mean, at first, like I was a little skeptical because of the art style and like the whole thing about the XP shared, how your Pokemon sort of level up at the exact same time as you. Because normally in a Pokemon game, you sort of have to take your time to level up each individual Pokemon and stuff like that. And so, going from that at first, it feels a little jarring. But honestly, to be honest, it's a lot better to do it that way instead of just like
it's very
it's a lot more grinding.
Yeah,
if you did originally.
It's like very newcomer friendly.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely. And the game is actually like, I mean, for the most part, it's pretty easy, but there are times where like it is like genuinely difficult, and you do have to sort of like think a little bit. It's not super handholdy, especially with the Elite Four, which I can appreciate because definitely previous Pokemon games have definitely been a little too handholdy. I mean, yeah, sure, it's like made for kids, but like, come on.
Sure.
So I can appreciate sort of a more challenging-ish Pokemon game. So yeah, that is both my favorite and only game that I played that actually came out in 2021.
Okay, fair enough, man. Yeah, that's one that I have not played. I haven't even played the original one, so that's one that I we'll talk about it later, but that's one that I want to play. The best game that I played that came out in 2021 is, funny enough, also a remaster / remake of some sort, and that is Nier Replicant. Nier Replicant.
See, it's funny. I bought that, but I haven't played it.
Yeah, dude, it's worth going through. And honestly, I would say like if you do have the game, I really think that you should play through all like 5 endings or whatever. And it's not, and just to kind of give context to that too, there are 5 endings. There's ending A, B, C, D, and E, right? Or no, I guess there's 6 endings. Either the final one that was added to this version was either ending E or ending F, one of those. And so there's either 5 or 6 endings. But whenever you beat the game the first time, whenever you reload that file, it takes you back to a certain point in the game. So you're not, every time that you get a new ending, it's not like you have to replay the entire game. So I know a lot of people are like, why would I play the game, 6 times just to see like one different ending or something like that? You're not playing through the whole game that many times. And I would say each time is worth it, because if you weren't a huge fan of the gameplay in the original Nier, this has updated it like crazy, and it's a lot better. So nice. It's very good. It's just kind of all of the games that came out this past year that I gave a shot, it's one of the very few that I actually finished. And I didn't just finish this one, I like 100%ed it. Like, it was a fucking phenomenal game. From the music, story, characters, gameplay, like, oh my gosh. I had a blast with this game, and I'm excited to jump into Nier Automata, because if it's the same world, if it's like the continuation, I'm all there. I'm for it, So, nice. Yeah, Nier Replicant, best game that came out in 2021 for me. Yeah. So,
Sweet.
DJ. Yeah, of the games that did not come out in 2021, what was your favorite game that you played?
Well, that would be what I mentioned earlier, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
I played it for the first time, and that was actually my very first Zelda game. It was great. Probably out of any open world game, this 100% was my favorite. There's a lot to do in the game, and it didn't feel, as I mentioned probably multiple times before, it didn't feel barren, I guess, because there were a lot of open world games that felt like that. I mean, even 15 at times kind of felt like that, and so literally majority of the time I would just be driving the car, which actually was pretty nice to do that, just sort of vibe with that. But regardless, it definitely didn't feel empty, I guess. There's a lot to do. I enjoyed all the different puzzles with the what are they called, chambers, shrines, something like that.
Shrines, trials, or whatever.
Yeah, that was fun. And at first I wasn't too big on the whole weapon destruction thing, but now looking back on it, like sort of dealing with it more. I kind of appreciate that. Sort of like makes you have to change up your strategy all the time and stuff like that.
Yeah, you got to go
Can't just rely on
find
this
new
one.
weapons and armor.
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah. I can appreciate that. That was cool. I like the different areas that you visit with all the different races. That was cool. The what are they called? The 4 beasts or whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
I don't even remember.
yeah.
Those were a lot of fun to go through. Sometimes kind of annoying, but overall a lot of fun. And like just the fact that the game gives you a lot of freedom. Like the fact that you can just fight the main villain right away is cool. I mean, why the fuck would you? That would be impossible, but you could, which is neat. But yeah, no, I mean, I enjoyed the simplicity of the story, but again, just because it's simple doesn't mean it's bad. You know, it's just straightforward. Like go kill Ganon, you know, and sort of it was interesting to learn the lore behind it, and sort of like the game shows you just how destructive and powerful Ganon was by showing you flashbacks of what he did in the past, like 100 years of the game and stuff like that. That was cool. I enjoyed that. Yeah, no, Breath of the Wild, I enjoyed the game for a lot of reasons. There's hardly anything that I disliked, except for like a nitpick, I guess, is the some of the shrines have like motion controls in it, and I just absolutely despised it. So I didn't do any of those, and I'm so happy that they weren't mandatory.
Yep. Yeah, motion controls for me in that game, and the amount of rain was ridiculous, because trying to climb up certain mountains that if it didn't rain, you would be able to make it up the wall, but it just rained so often. You were always falling off cliffs and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Finally, another thing. Fuck that. I hated that.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But, yeah, dude, good pick, man. That's a good one.
What about you?
I would say, because like I said, I mean, Chrono Trigger was the best RPG that I had played, and that obviously didn't come out, this year. But I didn't play like a crazy amount of video games. But I would say that, I don't want to just continuously repeat a lot of the games, because I did play some games and I really enjoyed pretty much all of the games that I played this year. So I'm just going to lump together 3 games as like a trilogy that I played that came out a long time ago. And that is Ys 1, 2, and Origin.
Okay.
Ys 1 and 2, they are like, they take place literally one after the other. Like Ys 2 picks up directly after Ys 1. And they are old school action RPGs. I played the re-releases that came out, and they were incredibly fun. There's a different kind of gameplay system that comes, with those older games that takes a little bit to getting used to, but once you've played it for about 20-30 minutes, you pretty much understand exactly how the gameplay works, and it becomes very addicting very fast, and you just want to just run into as many enemies as you can and just start like leveling up like crazy. So it's a very fun game. And then Ys Origin is directly connected to Ys 1 and 2, but takes place like way before the game, hence the name Origin. And from my understanding, all of the other Ys games could be played as standalone video games, but there is a continuity between all of the games. It's just that Ys 1, 2, and Origin are the closest as far as like, just like one story. As far as one story goes, Ys 1, 2, and Origin, I would say, is one complete story. So I kind of put that together as like a trilogy, but I played all 3 of those games this past year, and man, I'm really glad that I did, because now I am fully invested in this main character's kind of journey. And the newest one that came out, Ys 9, Monstrum Nox, has gotten stellar reviews, so I'm very excited to eventually get to that one. But yeah, as far as games that did not come out this year, I would say that trilogy I had some of the most fun playing those.
Tight.
Yeah. So, all right, DJ, here's kind of a different one. What is a game that you were not expecting to enjoy as much as you did?
Let's see. For me, if I remember correctly, that would be my number 10 on my list, which is Zoid's Legacy for the Game Boy Advanced. That
Yes,
was
sir.
a game that I played as a kid many times, but again, I never beat it and stuff like that. But last year I dedicated, like, all right, we're going to beat it this year. And so I did. And like, first off, the game is a lot longer than I thought it would be. For those that don't know, Zoid's Legacy, based off the Zoid's franchise, it's sort of like a turn-based style game where you have like 6 Zoids and you can battle and you can have a bunch of different Zoids and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Good for Zoids fans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I very enjoyed the simplicity of the gameplay. It wasn't too difficult nor super easy a lot of the times. The story sometimes, the story is pretty simplistic. It's just like you are trying to save your friend and your love interest, I should say, and you meet all the different characters from all the different Zoids franchise, like the different animes or the different video games and stuff like that. A lot of anime anime style games do that with like their properties and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I had a lot more fun than I thought I would with it. It's, I don't know, it's hard to describe. It's just, I don't know, it was fun.
Yeah,
it was
you just
very
had a
fun.
good time with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
had a
cool.
lot more fun than I thought I would.
Yeah. I'll keep mine kind of short too, mostly because I think it's best that you go into this game not knowing much about it at all. But my game that was my biggest surprise to me was Inscription, and that's mostly because of the gameplay loop. It is a card game, to put it in very simple, non-spoilerific terms. You are playing a game that is, like the cards and the decks and the playing field that you're on. It's all like random, and you draw cards and you lay them down just kind of like how you would with a card game. But this is purely a story-driven game. I don't think that there's an online component to this game. If you did, that would be wild. But I don't think there is. So you're playing against this computer, you're playing against the game. It's really hard not to talk about this game because if anything, I would say that this game is a psychological horror video game. It takes the concept of playing a card game and adds kind of this really unsettling, very like you really don't know what's happening kind of factor, because then at some point while you're playing the game, you're allowed to get up from the table and and start walking around the room, and that's whenever things start getting really weird because you eventually have to sit back down at the table and start playing the card game. And up until that point happened, that's probably the most that I'll say about spoilers go, because even when I started playing the game, I had no idea that you could get up from the table. Once you start the game, you start playing the card game. The guy explains the rules. They're really simple to you. And, you just kind of get going, and then, you lose a game or something, you win a game, you just kind of progress through the story, and then boom, out of nowhere, you're allowed to stand up from the table. I didn't even realize that it was like a table that we were at. I didn't realize that I was like an actual person, playing as a person playing a game, So, I'm not someone who's ever been really into card games, but this definitely took that style of gameplay and really twisted it and flipped it on its head, and I was so incredibly surprised by Inscription. I did not think that I was going to like it as much as I did. And yeah, that's why that one gets that spot for me. I highly recommend everyone check that one out. That one was good.
Okay, well, sweet.
Yeah. All right, DJ, what was the best story that you had experienced?
I would say either. Well, no. Let me be decisive.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Horizon Zero Dawn.
Ooh.
I really enjoyed the story of Aloy, sort of, I guess, uncovering the secrets of both herself and the world of the post-apocalyptic world and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It was cool to uncover the mystery. And plus the gameplay of that game is really fucking tight, and I'm very excited for the sequel.
Yeah, man.
So probably for me, that's probably my favorite story-driven game in 2021.
Yeah, man, I agree.
Even though it didn't come out in
I did play
2021.
that one a little earlier than 2021, but that's a good pick, dude.
What about you?
So this one, I'm gonna do a repeat here. This is a game that I've already mentioned, but I would say that Nier Replicant had the best story that I played this year. I was completely enthralled in everything that was happening, and getting through all those endings and seeing different perspectives of how the story unfolds was awesome. And with like the remaster or / remake that came out, there's just even more connections that go into Nier Automata. There's a lot to dig into there. There's even one portion of the story. There's like a missing chapter. Basically, in Japan, whenever the original Nier game came out, like on Xbox 360 and PS3 and stuff, there was a book that came out with lots of, information about the development of the game, like artwork and stuff like that, items, just stuff like that. And there was also a very short novella that told a story of a specific character, in the world that you never saw in the game. Whenever this remaster came out, though, they actually took that novella and added that in as a side mission into the story. So it is really good. It's one of my favorite things in the entire video game. Very emotional. That's one of the things, too. This game was highly, highly emotional, especially whenever you start playing around with those other endings. Man alive, dude. Like, this was something else. The characters, like, that's the big thing for me too in a story, because most stories, I mean, sure, you have like those outliers where the whole setting is very unique and a lot of the issues are very unique, but ultimately, like, you can tell a very simple story. What's going to drive it home for me are the characters. That's another reason too why I liked Horizon Zero Dawn so much. Like, the story was unique to an extent, but for the most part, it wasn't anything too special. But Aloy was just such a good character that you cared about everything happening in that story a lot more. That's kind of how I felt here with like Nier Replicant too. These characters that you come across were just so good. So yeah, as far as stories go, Nier Replicant is my story game of the year.
Sweet.
All right, DJ, what was the best gameplay that you experienced last year?
Best gameplay, I guess same things with Horizon Zero Dawn or Breath of the Wild. I mean, even though I really do enjoy turn-based games and stuff like that, if you put an action game in front of me, I'll probably choose that one first over a turn-based game, which is for me personally, I see a lot of people like shit talk how the new direction of Final Fantasy games being more action-based, but like, for me, that's fucking tight.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Like,
fun.
Like, I love action games. I love Final Fantasy. Put that shit together, match made in heaven. That's why, I was so excited for Final Fantasy VII Remake, and for me right now, it's my favorite Final Fantasy game. Like, already enjoyed Final Fantasy VII on its own, and then just add some action, and it just makes it even better in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for Final Fantasy 16, mainly because of the combat, and then also because of the story too.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, for those, but in terms of, I guess, turn-based specifically for more JRPG standards, it would probably be Shadow Hearts from the New World. Like, I really enjoyed that game in terms of its combat. Like, even a lot of people in the Shadow Hearts community say that in terms of its combat, Shadow Hearts from the New World, the third game in the franchise, is like the best one combat-wise. But story-wise, a lot of people hate it. I think it's okay. My main problem is like with the main antagonists of the game. They fucking suck dog shit. But I enjoyed the turn-based aspect of Shadow Hearts from the New World. It's a very challenging game, and all the characters are diverse, like both in terms of like their appearances, their motivations, and their combat too. Like, they all have something distinct about them, which is great. I really love it.
Yeah.
Shadow Hearts from the New World is a great combat experience. I fucking love it.
Nice, man. Yeah, cool. I agree. Also, just not having to do with Shadow Hearts, but with what you were saying about like with the Final Fantasy stuff too. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, I did not start playing Final Fantasy because of the gameplay.
Right.
I was in it for the characters and the story and the music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If all of them had ended up being action RPGs when they first came out, or even just like if all of them were tactics-based games or something, I mean, I'm in it for those stories, so I agree with you too with what you were saying. Like, I don't understand why everyone's so pissed off about like the gameplay direction. I mean, I love Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like I prefer I would probably play that one a lot more than I would the original 7. Specifically because of the gameplay alone, Obviously story I have different opinion on, but
Right.
Okay, yeah, Shadow Hearts, dude. Good pick, man. Good pick. For me, of all the games that I played last year, that I think I probably enjoyed the gameplay the most. I enjoyed the gameplay too for this game because it was something that I had not really experienced. I have not played many 2D action RPGs, but of the ones that I played, this one has really stood out to me, not just because of its gameplay alone, but like the visual aesthetics and the music and like the way it tells its story without any dialogue whatsoever. For me, I think the best gameplay was Hyper Light Drifter. Hyper Light Drifter, dude. I don't know if I've even really talked about this game at all on the podcast, but I did get to play some of this game. Actually, I did not. I didn't get to finish it yet, but I played a good like 80% of the game this past year. I'm gonna pick it up fairly soon so I can finish it at the start of this year. But man, oh man, the gameplay is just so fluid.
Nice.
And it's one of those games too where like as you progress through the game and like you just walk into different rooms, or just like you just kind of walk around outside, like the higher you go up on a staircase or something, the more crazy the music starts to get, and it all like works with the gameplay. Like the music and the gameplay kind of complement each other. And anytime that a game can do that, where it's like I feel the rhythm of just like the music and stuff in my hands while I'm playing the game, that's a good thing for me. I love that sort of thing. And the music is kick-ass. The gameplay was so fun. Very, very fast-paced. I highly recommend just pretty much everything about Hyper Light Drifter. Really good. But as far as gameplay goes, I think that's got to be probably one of the most fun games that I played last year.
Sweet.
Okay, this one might be a little bit more rough. You kind of got to dig deep into that memory bank of yours.
Right.
And but we're talking soundtracks here. What was it can either be like just overall like, man, I really loved the soundtrack to this game, or it could be something more, like it was really memorable, like I was humming the songs to myself like while I was working and stuff. Like, what was the best soundtrack to you?
Okay. So for me, despite the fact that I love Breath of the Wild, for me personally, none of the music was super memorable. Like, I mean, it was good, but like there's no tracks I'm just like, oh god, I gotta listen to this later.
That's one of my big contingencies about that game. Is like for a game series that's really known for their music, even though the music was good in Breath of the Wild, I like like there was not enough of it. That was my critique.
Right. Okay. For me, I don't know. It's very hard for me. I guess music is one of the later things that I look for in a game, because there's, even though I played a crap ton of games, like there's only a few games where like their songs were memorable for me in terms of just like, oh, they were just very fun to listen to, like in terms of just like, oh, I would listen to this on my own and stuff like that. So it's more like necessarily soundtrack and more just like, I guess, individual songs, because some of the games that I play, like there was like maybe one or two songs I was like, oh, I really liked. Like for example, Disgaea 5. There were a lot of good songs, but only one that was memorable, which is the Overworld theme, which is like the song that plays, Overworld theme, like the song that you play before you go to each level and stuff like that. Like, I really enjoyed that song. It's very mellow, very nice. I really like it. with Shadow Hearts from the New World, its battle theme so first I realized I thought this was his entire battle theme, Dead Fingers Talk. I thought that was the entire battle theme throughout the entire game in terms of just like normal fights, but apparently it's like the North American theme in terms of just like, so in the game you're like traveling throughout the different worlds, and like you're not the worlds. You're in Earth and you're traveling throughout different parts of the world. And in North America is Dead Fingers Talk, and that is probably my favorite just regular battle theme right now. Second place would be Final Fantasy 13's Blinded by Light. That one's very good. But Dead Fingers Talk right now is probably my favorite battle theme of all time. There's a lot of good songs in Chrono Trigger. Love the main theme of that game. It's really cool. So good. Very impactful.
Frogs
Final
theme
Fantasy
too, man.
Oh yeah, Final Fantasy 8's I guess the theme that plays between Squall and Rhinona. That one's, I can't remember the name off the top of my head.
Rhinona? Bro.
I mean, wait, what? Rinoa? Right?
Yeah, Rinoa.
Yeah, Rinoa.
Rhinona. That's my
I'm sorry,
aunt's
Final Fantasy
name.
8 fans. I'm sorry. But yeah, that theme is cool. And there's like a certain theme that plays during the final boss fight that I really like too. I can't remember the name off the top of my head either. And let's see what else. Folklore 2, it had good music, but nothing super memorable for me. And what else? Yeah, that's probably about it. Yeah, just a few different songs I like from different games, but I guess nothing overall that was just like, fuck yeah, this is so good.
Yeah, but I guess if you could just kind of narrow it to just like one game that you played, that was kind of like, oh, Shadow Hearts? Okay.
Yeah.
Right on, man. Cool. Yeah, I just now that we're kind of talking about this too, for everyone listening here who hasn't gone back and listened to any of our other episodes or, you know, some of our earlier stuff, we did do a whole podcast where we talked about some of our favorite composers and favorite music tracks and some of our least favorite songs in video games. Whenever you mentioned the Disgaea theme, that reminded me of that, because I remember you talking about that song, you know, back then when we did that episode. Yeah, man. A lot of good stuff there. I would probably say, because I kind of have, man, now that I'm thinking about it too, it's like, do I want to change my answer? Because a lot of the songs that I would kind of like hum in my head would probably mostly come from like Chrono Trigger. Like lots of memorable stuff in that game. But I would say overall, the best soundtrack that I heard in a video game this past year was an indie title called The Artful Escape.
Oh yeah.
And that game, that was one that I was very close to putting that as my biggest surprise. Because I mean, that one's very easy to get through. It's a 5-hour long game, very story driven. The gameplay, like, you're not really there for the gameplay. That game, The Artful Escape, is really what I would consider to be a really good example of like video games as art. Yeah, so The Artful Escape, the sound, basically all of it revolves around music. Even the main character, you play as a character whose family member was, you know, like their town is known for his family member who went on to do music. He's basically like a Bob Dylan kind of character, and he's like Bob Dylan's nephew or whatever. So now that his uncle has died, people kind of look at him as like the next thing. He's supposed to be the next best thing after his uncle who had passed away. But the thing is even though he's a really talented musician, he doesn't really like the genre of music that his uncle played. He wants to do his own kind of music, and it's a lot of the game kind of is very sci-fi, and you're going to different planets and like you're in space and shit, and it's just electric guitar solos, and it's super angelic. And it's like, as like a Coheed and Cambria fan, I could almost tell that the creators of the game were also fans, because it's just so wild, and like just the whole like setting of the game and all that, and the fact that it all kind of revolves around music and stuff. Dude, it was that was a really good game, and I would probably say that if I could have chosen like the Game Awards of any of the games to really win Game of the Year, I think the Artful Escape probably had some of the best music design that goes along with gameplay that I have ever seen in a video game.
Nice.
That's not like a rhythm game, you know?
Yeah.
So that was that's my best soundtrack, but for my most memorable, I also put Ys 1, 2, and Origin. The soundtracks to those games were so fucking tight. If you're into that like Guilty Gear type, like just like hard rock in the background the whole time, and it's very frantic and just sounds so fucking good. Play the Ys games; they're really good.
Right.
Okay, we've gone through a lot of highs in our discussion.
Let's get angry.
Yeah, let's get a little a little PO'd, if you will. Before we go ahead and talk about what we would consider our overleveled game of the year, let's go ahead and talk real quick. What was the biggest disappointment? Like, what was a game that you played this year? I know this kind of goes with what we were talking about, but just like you played through it and you were like, that was kind of a waste of my time. You know? Do you have any games? Like, what was the biggest disappointment to you?
Well, for me, I still enjoyed this game overall, but I had more negatives than I did positive about it, and that would be the original Pokemon Diamond and Pearl for me. God, just me saying that, I can already imagine the amount of Pokemon fans readying their shotguns. Jesus Christ!
Yeah, and they all listen to this podcast too. So
yeah, I know.
Yeah,
they always talk about it. Just like, oh man, can't wait for Overload cast. Hope they say nothing bad about Pokemon Pearl. But yeah, no, the original Pokemon Pearl, like overall, it was a lot of fun, but I just hate how slow early gen Pokemon games are. Yeah. I just can't handle it. That's one of my main gripes about it. Really, the big gripe, and that also, as we were talking about with the remake / reboot or whatever, or remaster, I should say. The XP share thingy makes it a lot easier, more consumer friendly and stuff like that. But in the original, they don't really have that, so you have to spend a lot of time grinding and stuff like that. And the times where I had to stop and grind my team and stuff like that, especially for the Elite Four, I just hated it. I was like, I hate this. But once I got to the Elite Four, I was like, oh, this is a lot of fun. Like, I still remember being so, I guess, invested in the final battle with Cynthia. I was like, oh shit, this is so intense and stuff like that, and feeling so excited when I won. But until that point, I was just like, I fucking hate this.
Yeah.
And like, I even like once I beat the Brilliant Diamond, I sort of like compared my times that I beat the game. Like, Brilliant Diamond, I think, took me about a little over 30 hours to beat, but the original Pokemon Pearl took me almost 60 hours to beat. And most of that was from grinding. Yeah.
Man. I'm sorry you had a bad experience there, DJ.
No. So I mean, for the most part, I enjoyed Pokemon Pearl. Like, I love Pokemon, but
yeah.
And honestly, like, Sun and Moon, I hated way more just overall. Really? Well, yeah, no, Sun and Moon, fuck that game.
I never played any of the 3DS games.
You're not missing that much.
Okay, cool.
At least from Sun and Moon.
I wanted to play the Ruby remake because the Ruby is my favorite Pokemon game, but I still haven't played Ruby yet.
Right. I heard that one's not as good as the original, but I know for a fact it's not nearly as terrible Sun and Moon. But yeah, overall, cool. I enjoyed Pokemon Pearl, but out of all the games that I played in 2021, that was probably my biggest disappointment in general.
Man.
But yeah, what about you? What game took a shat on your heart?
I would say, here's the thing, because I have to agree with you in that I still liked the game. I think a lot of my biggest gripes here kind of come from the way I had to play the game. And here's the thing, I have a very powerful computer. I had to run this game on like low to medium settings, and it was still very, very choppy. And the game, there was lots of graphical errors that kept on happening, lots of glitches in the audio and everything. And I don't know if it's just because, I'm pretty sure it has to be just because the PC port of this game was bad. And that really affected how I could have been experiencing this game. But for me, and I know I've talked about this game a few times beforehand, but for me, probably the most disappointing experience I had was Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
Oh wow, okay.
And I streamed it all on Twitch. And if you were there with me while I was playing the game, you'll probably see plenty of times, and this isn't me just being one of those guys where it's like, oh, I know I pressed the button and I should have attacked. No, seriously, there were parts that I should not have died, and I died, and I had to redo battles multiple times. And the gameplay, as far as just whenever you're fighting, like sword in hand, you're fighting an enemy, is wildly repetitive. Okay. The story was really good, but I think the story was really hindered by a lot of the graphical errors that were happening during a lot of the cutscenes. It really started taking me out of the game, and it was hard for me to really focus on what was happening. And yeah, I mean, overall, I don't think that Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is a bad game. But for me, I was incredibly disappointed with my experience, you know? So, yeah, I mean, kind of like with what you had said, it's not that you necessarily hate Pokemon or Pokemon Pearl. It's just like, man, like, you have standards for Pokemon, right?
Right, yeah.
I have standards for, like, just playing games on my computer, and this failed me, right? So, I'm excited about, you know, a potential discussion I can have on the story and everything later on down the line with one of my buddies. But as it sits now, man, as far as like the gameplay went and me just kind of getting through the story, like, dude, I was getting bad headaches, dude, like incredibly bad headaches where I had to like at one point I had to stop streaming one time, and then I just got out of my chair and laid on the floor because I thought that I was going to like throw up or pass out because I was getting terrible motion sickness from just like the incredibly choppy frame rate. And I'm like, why? I'm running this at like 1080p on my monitor at you know, it's like in a small window, and it's all like on medium settings, and it's still getting like 25 frames a second. Like, what the fuck is going on here?
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, whereas like I could probably play Final Fantasy 15 on my computer on high settings at 60 frames a second, you know?
Right.
So I'm just like, man, that was disappointing. I wish I could have like played that on my PS4 or something. Maybe that would have changed my mind, but yeah, that was it. That was my most disappointing game. Okay, DJ. What was your overleveled game of 2021? The best game that you played?
Well, I mean, for me, the best game overall is the exact same one for the second category. And that would be Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Everything about that game I really enjoyed.
Nice.
Yeah, no.
Cool.
It was great.
Yeah. Honestly, dude, just keeping it short too. My overleveled game of 2021 is the same as my first category, dude. Best RPG was also my best game, dude. Chrono Trigger.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I really think that was my favorite game that I played this year.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just like, and I guess to talk a little bit more and just kind of reiterate other things that we said about it, dude. The characters were awesome. The humor was there. The gameplay was fun. There weren't like a crazy amount of random encounters. Like all the text, all the endings, all the music. Like I'll just say all the music like a million times because like it's so good.
Well, you know what? Yeah. I literally just remembered. So just to backtrack real quick, I won't go too in depth about this, but actually a game that sort of disappointed me a little bit more than Pokemon was Disgaea 6. I forgot that I did play an hour of that. And I was just like, I don't like this. I mean, I still will play it and beat it, but I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, I was going to ask how you felt about that one because I remember right before it came out, people were kind of like, it's got terrible like performance and all this stuff. And
yeah, there's a lot of just weird decisions that they made of changing a lot of things about it that I don't like. Like the biggest thing is that, so normally in a Disgaea game, the highest level you can be is 9,999. But obviously, of course, you don't need to be that high. And so what they did is they added an extra 4 nines to where you can be 99,999,999. So what they did is that they pretty much just like made leveling up way faster. Like normally in a Disgaea game, I'll be like around level 150, 160 by the end of the story mode. But in the first hour of Disgaea 6, I was already level 120 from level 1 to 120.
Wow.
And like the motivation of the character is just kind of like, okay. I mean, granted, I'm only 1 hour in, but it seems kind of stupid right now. Yeah. And of course, like I said this before in another episode, is that they got rid of some staples that are known in a Disgaea game. It's like if they, Final Fantasy 16, there was just no chocobos or no spells or something like stuff like that. It's just like, why would you fucking get rid of that?
Yeah.
But I mean, granted, again, I'm only 1 hour in, but so far I'm not really liking it.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, cool. All right, guys. Those were kind of our big categories that we were going to talk about. All of that stuff. Best RPGs, best games that we played, some disappointing stuff. That was 2021 for us in a nutshell. Let's talk about real quick, dude. What are maybe some games that did come out in the last year that you didn't get a chance to play? I know you said that the only game that you played was Pokemon, Brilliant Diamond. What were some other games that came out last year that you want to try to get to and play this year?
Shit.
I can go first because I kind of wrote out a list of games.
I mean, I don't know if I'll play them this year.
Yeah.
But some of them that I would like to maybe try to eventually play is Metroid Dread. Let's see, what else?
I specifically did not put that one on my list because I know that I'm not going to play that one this year. As much as I would love to, there's just so many other games that I want to get to, and I'm about to have a baby, so I just know I'm not going to get to Metroid Dread.
Right. Oh shit! Did Elden Ring come out in 2021?
No, it's about to come out in February.
Because I looked up games that came out in 2021, and Elden Ring is listed. I'm like, wait, no, what?
No, it's not out. That's not out yet.
Okay.
The demo, like people had like an early access kind of demo to it, but the game's not out.
Okay. Also, I guess technically Final Fantasy 15 Endwalker. I mean, that fucking
sure, yeah,
that came out. Yeah, sure, yeah. I mean, eventually I'll get to it. Probably not this year, but
I'll probably at least maybe beat one of the expansions, but I probably won't beat all of them this year.
Oh, hell no. But yeah, I mean, I haven't really been keeping up too much about the games that have been coming out. I've just been more focused on like, all right, these are the games that, because we've talked about this on a previous podcast, like backlog and stuff like that. Like, I own a shit ton of games, and so I'm just like trying to beat a lot of those.
Yeah. I will say for me, of the games that came out this past year, I want to say that on top of the other games that I want to play that didn't come out, these are games that I think I definitely can get to and beat. One of them is Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay. I think that's like a fairly short story. Like, it's not incredibly long. But that's one, if it ever comes on like Game Pass or something like that, I'll probably pick it up, play it for, however many hours it takes to get through the story, or, maybe borrow it from someone who has that. Guardians of the Galaxy is one I really want to play. I think that It Takes Two might be a fun one for me and my wife to play. Even if I don't finish the game, I want to get around to just like playing a significant amount of that game with my wife.
Right.
Pokemon Diamond or Pearl remakes. I think I want to pick up Pearl, but I don't know. Maybe DJ, if you want to let me borrow the Pokemon remake or something. I just want to make sure that I can play either one of those before Legends Arceus comes out. So those are ones that I definitely want to play. And then also, I may or may not get to completing this one, but I really want to play Tales of Arise.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say stuff too, like Shin Megami Tensei 5, but I want to make sure that I can play like 4 at least before I play 5, and those are long games, and I got other shit to do, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, what are some games that did not come out in 2021, but they are games that, you know, have been out for a while, just like some stuff that on your backlog that you want to try to commit to beating this year?
There's a shit ton actually. So,
Yeah.
but to make it a little easier, so there are a couple of games that like I've gotten through pretty far into it, but I just couldn't beat because the final level was just very, very difficult. But I want to eventually sit down and like dedicate some time to. So, Hack Infection, like the very first .hack series.
Oh yeah.
I'm like literally at the final boss stage.
Nice.
I just need to grind for it, which is gonna be a bitch. Same thing with Digimon World for the PS2. Like again, I'm at the final boss, but I just got to do a bunch of grinding for it. Another one. One that I want to play. That I'm actually planning on playing pretty soon after I beat Transformers is Phantom Brave.
Oh, yeah.
I recently, not too long ago, actually did buy the NIS Classic Volume 1 collection.
Nice.
That comes with the games Soul Nomad and Phantom Brave.
Yeah, we talked about that on a previous podcast.
Yeah, I bought it not too long ago, and Phantom Brave is a game that I definitely remember playing as a kid in elementary school. I played it for the PS2 for like I played like half of it. There's like 20 episodes. I played through 10 of them, but I never beat it. Played it again on my Vita, buying the PSP version. Again, never beat it. And now I have this. This is literally now my third copy of the game. But I want to this time for real beat it because I really love the atmosphere of this game. It's very wholesome. I love the character Morona. She's so adorable and nice and cool. It's fucking great.
Nice.
I really want to beat it.
Cool. Right on.
So those are some of the games that I want to try and beat potentially this year.
Cool, man. Yeah. So, those are good games. You brought up some games that I definitely need to throw on my backlog as well.
Yeah.
So 3 of these games I mentioned earlier, but I'm kind of gearing towards the end of them now. So I know I'm going to beat them this year. That's 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim, Final Fantasy Tactics, and Octopath Traveler.
Nice.
Yeah, these are all games that I'm definitely gonna. I don't know how long Final Fantasy Tactics will be because I'm playing that one on stream, and if that one takes like hundreds of hours, so be it. But definitely 13 Sentinels and Octopath Traveler. I'm gonna have those finished before like this first quarter of the year is over.
Nice.
As for the rest of the year goes, I want to at least beat the story of all of the East games.
Okay.
Just like all of them. Like I've played, like I had said, 1, 2, and Origins. 5 is not localized in America, and apparently the story isn't really canon. So I'm not going to really waste my time with that one until they release it here in America later on.
Okay.
But definitely of the ones that are out now, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. I want to finish all of those this year. And I at least want to finish Dragon Quest 4, 5, and 6. Last year in 2021. It was actually 2020, and then maybe also a little bit in 2021.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it was 2020, but I finished Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
So now
real. I was just gonna say real fast, Gavin. Speaking of Dragon Quest, so currently I've been watching the Dragon Quest anime, Dragon Quest Dai, Adventures of Dai, based off of Dragon Quest 3. Loosely, it was based off the manga of Dragon Quest.
Oh, it's after Dragon Quest 3?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, sort of has like those sort of elements and stuff of that game, and it's Dragon Quest Adventures of Dai 2020 version is sort of a remake of the original 90s, and this has been really fucking good. I've been enjoying it a lot. The animation is insane. The story is really, really great. It's really good. I would highly recommend it. I've been enjoying Adventures of Dai so much.
Yeah, dude, we should we can talk about it later, but dude, what if we did a thing where I got caught up on the Dragon Quest anime, and then I hopped over on your podcast, and me and you could have a conversation about the Dragon Quest Dai anime.
Yeah, we could. I mean, I've been thinking about doing something related to that. So yeah, potentially, yeah, actually. Yeah, we could talk about it.
Sweet, man. Okay, so Dragon Quest 4, 5, and 6, I definitely want to try to get those done this year. And then this is also the year that I want to buckle down and start getting into the Trails of, or sorry, not Trails of, like the Trails series. So Trails in the Sky, they have like the Crossbell arc that's coming out, like Trails to Azure and stuff like that. And then, yeah, like Trails of Cold Steel. Trails in the Sky FC is the very first Trails game. And I actually just got done watching one of my other new favorite YouTubers. He just put out like a 30-minute long review, spoiler-free, talking about that game. And the more and more I hear about it, the more excited I get to play it, because it's kind of this pseudo-tactical kind of RPG, similar in the vein of Mega Man Battle Network, but also with like the leveling up system of Final Fantasy X, like with the sphere grid. So along with like a story that's incredibly emotional and will take you on this long journey through all these games, I want to start with Trails in the Sky, FC, which stands for First Chapter. And so, yeah, those are just a handful of the games. Obviously, I mean, there will be some games that come out this year that I'll play, and some games that I didn't mention, you know. I definitely want to play like Neo: The World Ends With You. Like, I've been so excited for that for so long, and I still haven't played it. And I own the game now, so I need to play it. Yeah, there's a lot of games, but okay, DJ, real quick though, what are some games coming out in 2022 that get you pumped, bro?
So the biggest one right now, because it's literally about to come out very soon in a few days. Pokemon Legends of Arceus coming out on the 28th.
Yes, sir.
And I am so excited for that. Literally looking forward. It looks fucking fantastic from everything that I've seen. Yeah. Definitely looking forward to this game. Like, me and Anthony would always say, like, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl are just like the warm-ups to this game. So very excited for that. In terms of like games coming out very soon. Obviously, of course, really looking forward to Final Fantasy 16. I literally check like almost every day for new updates and stuff like that on this.
We still don't know if that's 2022 yet, but I'm with you.
I mean, yeah, probably not, but you never know.
Could be.
Yeah, it could be. Another thing too is that they sort of leaked this a while ago with Capcom about potentially Dragon's Dogma coming out in 2022. Dragon's Dogma 2 coming out in 2022. And also with that, I remember not too long ago, the director of DMC5 said that he's working on a new project. And with that, what's cool about that is I remember he said, like, prior to making DMC5, he's like, all right, so I either want to do DMC5 or Dragon's Dogma 2. I'm not sure which one I do.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah, so obviously he made DMC5, and he said he's working on a new project, and we got the leaks about potentially Dragon's Dogma coming out in 2022. So I'm just like, yo, please let it be Dragon's Dogma 2, please. So those are the ones off
DJ
the top
needs to
of my
eat.
Head. Yeah, I need to eat bad. So those are ones off the top of my head that I'm excited for. Sure, there's more, but those are the first ones that come to mind. But
yeah. I just realized while you were talking too that I had only put down 2 games, but then I thought, no, there's got to be maybe 1 or 2 more. So, like you said, Pokemon Legends Arceus. I'm really looking forward to that one, but like I had said, I want to make sure that I can at least play one of the, Pearl or Diamond games before that one comes out, just because I know it's like in that same lore. Mm-hmm. I know all of them kind of are in the same lore. Like, there's technically a Pokemon timeline, but I definitely just want to play like Pearl or Diamond first before I play that one.
Okay.
Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin.
Right.
Yeah, that's coming out in 2 months. And,
shit. Okay.
Yeah, it's coming out in March. So, yeah, looking forward to that one too.
I'm still gonna wait till I get a PS5.
Yeah. Well, now that I have a PC, now that I've also experienced Senua's Sacrifice run like dog shit, I don't know how this game is gonna run on my computer.
True.
Yeah, I definitely want that one on a PS5 too, if I can get that. But if there's a demo out on PC, I'll play that or something. Also, the other two, Elden Ring is about to come out.
Oh my God! Yes. Okay. Yes, that too.
Yeah, Elden Ring. Highly looking forward to that. And I don't know if this has been totally confirmed for 2022. Maybe it was confirmed for 2022, but just we don't have a release date. But Breath of the Wild 2 or whatever the sequel is going to be.
Yep.
Those are kind of my big four right now. Obviously, like Horizon, that's going to be fun too.
Oh, yes.
I mean, fucking if Final Fantasy 16 has a 2022 release as well, I mean, I could not be more pumped for that game.
Goddamn right.
But yeah. Okay, guys. I mean, unless you have anything else, man, we're about to close
not
this
really.
bad boy out.
That was a pretty chunky episode. Yeah,
that was a good hour and a half.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick before we totally sign off, like I had said before with our question of the week, you can get into contact with us and you can be in our community by just commenting on our YouTube videos, emailing us, or joining our Discord. Our email is overleveledpodcast@gmail.com. I try to leave that. I try to leave that everywhere. I can't remember. Sometimes I forget if I forget to put it in the Spotify and Apple podcast description. I know for a fact it's always like in the YouTube stuff, but overleveledpodcast@gmail.com. You can email us there. You can follow me on Twitter @overleveledcast. Yeah, you can follow me there. I usually just try to retweet some news stuff that's kind of going on, or share something cool happening in the world of video games and stuff like that. So you can follow me over there. You can also join our Patreon. Guys, I would love to see more of y'all join the Patreon. It's been a little minute. We've had a few guys hop in there. So I'm grateful for all you boys in there, all you boys and bees,
Sweet.
as DJ would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the Discord, so links to that is everywhere in all of the descriptions everywhere. I also have a Patreon up as well for the Overleveled podcast. This is just kind of a way that y'all can, if you don't have time to be hopping in to all of the Discord stuff and being on your phone all the time. I understand people are busy and stuff like that. We have, this is just a way that if you feel like you are able to support the podcast monetarily, that is an option for you. We will eventually have certain perks and things like that down the line, but nothing is completely set in stone just yet. This is just kind of a way that you can support if you feel so inclined. If not, no worries at all. That's completely optional. But yeah, just thought I would mention that as well. We have links to that everywhere as well. And then the last thing, too, for me, I do Twitch streaming as well. Like I had mentioned, I played through all of Senua's Sacrifice on stream, and right now I'm playing through Final Fantasy Tactics on stream. And I'm kind of doing that in conjunction with another podcast where they're kind of doing a book club type analysis of that game. So I'm trying to play to certain points and stop there so I can kind of understand the story a lot better with that podcast. So that's just kind of what I'm doing there. But that is twitch.tv/gavdod, GAVDOD. Like I said, too, links to all of this will be everywhere. DJ, do you want to plug any of your stuff before we head out?
Sure. You can follow me at my channel, Mushroom Man. It's a channel where I talk about I do reviews of different anime, movies, and video games. Currently, I'm going through a series where I talk about and make fun of One Piece. That which my latest video for that is up, and actually, I have another video that I'm currently working on that is anime related that I'm hoping to have done either later next week or the week after that. And then I have a video that I'm working on to come out on Valentine's Day. I'm excited for that one. Got a bunch of videos. Yeah, you can follow me there. You can also follow me on Instagram at Mushy Squishy, and also on my Twitter at Mushy Squishy, I believe. Mushy for Squishy, that's what it is.
Mushy for Squishy.
Yes. And then speaking of podcasts, I have my own podcast called The Ramen Stand with Kai and Cole, where we talk about anime and just nerd out about different things that we love and hate and different things like that. Which
yeah.
we actually just earlier last week recorded an episode, and
Nice.
that'll go out relatively soon. Talking about more Rent-A-Girlfriend and that train wreck of an anime.
Yikes.
But yeah, so yeah, you can follow me in all that stuff.
Cool, man. Yeah, guys, that's gonna be it. Thank you, everyone, again for listening. Be sure to share this episode as well, and share the kind of this podcast. I don't really do any other sort of advertising other than just being on Twitter and following people and sharing stuff. So the best way that this podcast gets around is of word of mouth.
Yes.
So if
Watch
you know
time,
anybody,
baby.
Yeah, if you know anyone who is interested in discussions like this, or just RPGs, video games in general, just hanging out with the homies.
Tell your mom about
tell your mom.
Overleveled podcast.
Yeah, we want to hang out with your mom. So let her know that we're here, and we'll be here ready for her.
Potential special guest, your mom.
Waiting and wanting your mom. So, DJ.
Yes.
Hit it with it.
Well, guys, we're in the new year, and it's time to drink the beer. Yeah.
Great.